Ah, it's nice to finally be home and rest. It's been a crazy first season, so I'll just chill and play a little bit with my Switch. What's going on? Oh, no, 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 don't do this to me! It can't be. My Switch is dead. But how? What happened? Hello?
Hello, Mr. Doctor.
Who are you?
Well, it is we, the Nintendo Ninjas, and it seems that you have a little predicament with your Switch, don't you?
You son of a bitch! You broke my Switch! Why would you do that?
You, Mr. Doctor, have been a pretty naughty boy, yes. You have been doing illegal stuff to our products.
Oh, come on, that's a lie. All my games are very real and totally legal.
Is that so? Guess you'll never get your Switch back.
No, wait. What do you want from me?
We want you to go through some trials. Then we'll either repair or replace your Switch.
Alright, I'll do. Wait, what do you mean repair or replace? Don't you know how to fix my Switch?
Well, we're not sure how bad the damage done to your Switch was. Our official console breaker can go a little haywire sometimes. Once we had this incident with a Game Boy Micro and a Go that...
Alright. I don't want to hear the story. Just tell me what to do first.
Okay, your first task is...
Hello, dear patients. Your favorite doctor here, Dr. Plague, and I'm forced to do the biddings of the maniac Nintendo Ninja. Yes?
Don't use our names in the video.
Fine! God damn! Hello, dear patients. Your favorite doctor here, Dr. Plague, and today I want to talk to you about something I mentioned in a previous video, and that is the R4 cards for the Nintendo DS. I mentioned their existence and how it helped boost interest in the Nintendo DS here in Play Country. However, I didn't get my hands dirty with this artifact until recently, and let me tell you, there's actually more to it than meets the eye. So once again, let's embark in an adventure to discover the arcane secrets of the R4 cards. Illegal stuff is not cool. Really? Is that the catchphrase you'll have me say? Well, you can take your slogan and shove it up your Before we dip our heads into this endeavor, let's first define what the R4 is, because back in the day I had no idea what it was. I was almost sure it was like one of those 99 games in one cartridge type stuff that was very common in the Game Boy Advance days, although those cartridges only had at most 4 GBA games and the rest were a couple of NES games and hacked variants, like playing the original Super Mario Bros. But with Sonic instead of Mario. However, the R4 is a completely different beast. These are flash cartridges for the Nintendo DS, which allow ROMs and homebrew software to be booted on a Nintendo DS, but not from the cartridge itself, but from a micro SD card. The original R4 cards require a micro SD with a storage capacity of 2 GB or less, and did not support SDHC micro SD cards, so I have no idea how these things were advertised back in the day to be able to hold the entire DS catalog in one cartridge. As it's very common here in Play Country, most unofficial video game retailers take advantage of people's lack of knowledge and naivety to sell things through false advertisement. We'll see a bit more about that later on, trust me. According to my research, the original R4 cards stopped being produced a long time ago, but there are many clones that use the same hardware and function exactly the same, with the added bonus of supporting SDHC micro SD cards with a better storage capacity and speed. These cards would also later on be used to install custom firmware on the Nintendo 3DS, but that's as far as I want to know about that, lest the ninjas try to break my Wii U or something. As a teenager, I wasn't really interested in the concept of the R4 cards. Since I haven't developed a time-traveling concoction yet, I do not know whether or not the DS ROMs were easy to find in 2007 and if you could mess around with the R4 cards the way you can do it now, since sellers usually charged money for any game that you wanted integrated in the R4 after you bought it. The trick about this is that these cards used to include 3 or 4 good games and the rest were the worst possible games ever known to mankind, so you would eventually have to pay to remove these games and get some good ones instead. So, if it was such a bad deal, why did people buy these things? Well, with the little storage capacity that this had back in the day, you could easily fill it up with good games for around the same price of an original NDS game, so most people thought it was a fair deal. Nevertheless, I was content with the few games I managed to purchase. Since I never liked piracy for portable consoles, I had the impression these filthy things would damage my precious devices. More than 10 years passed and finally, in 2022, I got myself an R4 card to play all the games I missed back on the DS era. You might be asking, Mr. Doctor, what changed your mind? And the answer is very simple. The retro gaming market sucks! Anyone who has dipped their toes into the retro gaming market knows how hard and expensive it is to collect old games. Let's say that I really want to get the Grinch for the Nintendo DS. I go into eBay and, sure, I can find a pre-owned copy relatively cheap for 34 bucks coming from Portugal, but there's also a brand new one for almost 90 bucks. You're a cheapskate, Doctor. That's pocket money. Well, take into account that the game can't be finished in around 2 or 3 hours, but sure, let's look for a bigger fish. How about Chrono Trigger? Almost 100 bucks. And there's even one for $1,000 fucking dollars or best offer because it's a fucking auction. Dear Lord! So yeah, I'm not letting some fucking scalpers and scammers prevent me from playing all the classic Nintendo DS gems like The Legend of Zelda, Spirit Tracks, Lunar Nights, Wario Master of Disguise, Touch Dick, and wait, Touch Dick? There's a game called Touch Dick for the Nintendo DS. Oh my god. Just imagine going up to your friends and telling them, hey, let's play a round of Touch Dick. Yes, I know, I'm a child. Leaving the dick jokes aside, I went to the same plague-ridden place where I asked for the beta hacking a few years earlier to buy the R4 card, because I'm an idiot that never learns and because it's the only place I know where you can get those things easily nowadays, apart from Amazon of course. But given that I had such a bad experience with the micro SD adapter for the beta, I'd rather go local with these kind of things. The process must have gone something like this. Hello? Hello, how can I help you? Do you have any R4 cards for the Nintendo DS? Let me check. Yes, we do. This one has more than 100 games. Let me show you that it works. Excellent. So, it has more than 100 games, you say? Oh, yes, absolutely. Alright, I'll take it. How much is it? Well, normally it's 50,000 Plague Country Plague-Arinos, but I'll give it to you for just 40,000 Plague-Arinos. Oh, kick fucking ass. Thank you very much. Thank you. See you later. What a moron. Of course, when I got home I checked the card on my Nintendo 3DS and, surprise, surprise, the games included in the R4 fucking sucked dick. A lot of shovelware mixed together with 3 or 4 good games like Mario and Luigi, Partners in Time, and Trauma Center. And there weren't 100 plus games either, but I already expected all of that. I just thought that I could switch the ROMs for good games and that would be it. And technically I did. I just got the micro SD out from the R4, put it into the computer and started switching the games. But once again, life tricked me and the micro SD included only 4 GB of storage, so I couldn't put all the games I wanted in there. No problem, I thought. I just get a card with more storage. 8 GB should be more than enough. And damn, you won't believe how hard it was to get an 8 GB micro SD card. When I finally got it, I realized something. I had to actually prepare the card to work with the R4. I had to watch a couple videos on YouTube on how to prepare the card, and once I thought I had everything figured out, it didn't work. So, I did the only logical thing. I copied the files from the micro SD card that was included with the R4, added the remaining ROMs, and that did the trick. Well, kind of. The names of the games are not shown, but at least the icons are, so I'm not completely lost when trying to find a game to play. According to my research, this thing can even hold NES, SNES, and Game Boy emulators to play on your Nintendo DS or 3DS, but I don't want to mess around with that since I already have the Vita to play most retro consoles. That's all well and good, Mr. Doctor, but does it work properly? And the answer is yes, for the most part. I haven't tested a lot of games given that my backlog is already long enough as it is to start playing games just to test them out. But so far Trauma Center, Ultimate Spider-Man and Wario Master of Disguise have worked pretty well. Except for a couple times when Ultimate Spider-Man froze and I had to restart the game. Also, for some weird reason, it takes a couple of tries for the console to recognize the R4 cartridge, so I try not to take it out of the system very often. And you might be wondering, Mr. Doctor, isn't it easier just to download a DS emulator on your PC and save all this hassle? And the answer, of course, is yes, it would be so much easier, but as you already know, I fucking hate playing on PC, so I'll go through as much hoops as I need to in order to play my favorite retro games on consoles. Nothing beats the original hardware, and now I can just chill and relax and play all these fully functional games. What do you want?
Oh, we thought we heard you saying that the games on that wretched card were fully functional and we just had to gloat.
Wait, what do you mean?
You really thought it would be that easy? Poor fool. As always, you didn't do your research properly, and we left some lovely security measures to make sure you can enjoy some of those games. Enjoy your half-ass games, you bumbling idiots!
Of course, it wasn't going to be that easy, because Nintendo are fucking evil. Alright, I did the research and the ninjas were right. There are a couple Nintendo DS games with anti-piracy measures, but the only ones that interested me were Chrono Trigger, Pokemon Black and White, and Pokemon Black and White 2. In this case, I had to say fuck you to the backlog and go ahead and try these specific games to make sure that I could play them on real hardware, because I'll be damned if I have to use a damn emulator to play these games. Starting with Chrono Trigger, the measure is merciful on my time, given that it's at the beginning of the game. Once you have to travel through the first time gate, the game will freeze. I tested it out and it didn't happen. The game continued working as normal, which is a relief because I don't even want to remember the exaggerated prices for this game on eBay. Now, for both Pokemon games, the effect is very peculiar, because technically you'd still be able to play and complete the game if you're a god tier trainer. The game makes some checks at unspecified times, and if it doesn't detect the infrared port, Pokemon will not gain experience and the game will randomly crash. As you can imagine, testing this was a complete ordeal, as it could either happen in the very beginning of the game or the very end, and these games are not what you call short. After 10 hours of playtime, everything has been running properly so far, so I think it's safe to dismiss it. After all of this, what do I think of the R4? I say that it's an excellent way to relive good memories of games you might not own anymore, or ones you've always wanted to have but were very hard or impossible to get back in the day. Is it perfect? Of course not. Sometimes games might freeze and you have to restart from the beginning, and if you haven't saved your game in a while, it's gonna be pain. However, it works pretty well and that's all that matters. But don't get me wrong, I don't like to have to use these methods to play these games. To be completely honest, I'd rather be able to buy these games either digitally or in the form of collections and compilations in current gen consoles. Nintendo could have released more DS games in the Wii U in order to legally enjoy them, but apparently Nintendo hates everything that remotely resembles game preservation, so I don't feel slightly guilty for using this device to play the games I have no legal way of acquiring without shelling out hundreds of dollars. So, go ahead and get an R4 and enjoy playing your favorite games. It's actually an easy and harmless process and you will have hours of fun and nostalgia. This has been all for today, my patients. I hope you enjoyed this wonderful adventure to the depths of the R4 experience. Do you think this is a good way to experience games, or would you rather be able to get them digitally on modern hardware? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, one game a day keeps the plague doctor away. I'm going to get you and make you pay for what you've done to my Switch.